What's up, everybody, and welcome to Growing Up Gaming, your weekly podcast where we meet a new person of the internet to discuss their childhood with gaming and how it inspired their lives today. My name is Mitch Power. Again, thank you guys so much for returning each and every week to the show. I hope you have subscribed on iTunes or Google Play or YouTube, or you're just listening on some other guy's phone who's obnoxious and playing it on public transit. If you are, either way, I'm happy you're listening. So thank you for checking out the show. Thank you for your time. And hopefully you enjoy the show. Hit that subscribe button on any and all of those platforms. That'd be very much appreciated. This week on the show, we have our guest. His name is Chris White. Again, of course, Twitter just seems to be very good for the podcast community and the guests. So there's so many people happy to be on shows. And I asked him to be on the show, and he was nice enough to lend his time and be a guest. So thank you for that. If you guys want to be on the show just like he was, go ahead and send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter, or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast on Twitter. Without further ado, let's get things started with Chris White. Do you remember what initially got you started playing games? Do you remember if it was a family member, a friend, at a store kiosk? Do you remember what initially got you interested?
Yeah, I do. It's funny. In preparing to come on, I kind of backtracked myself, and you know, the NES is the console that I remember having, and we'll get there. But I knew that this question was going to come up, and so I was trying to think of like the first time I can remember even playing a video game, and it took me back to Pizza Hut. And so I don't know, you know, some people who maybe grew up, I was born in 82, so, you know, grew up in the 80s. People who remember, Pizza Hut used to have, when you would walk in, they would have this little pickup window before you would actually go in to be able to sit in. Inside of that little small room, there, most Pizza Huts would have maybe one or two different arcade machines. And I can remember I lived in a really small town outside of Jacksonville, Florida, called McClenny. And I remember that inside, you know, that little area, they had a couple of games. They had Pole Position, racing game, which, you know, as a kid, being able to drive, you know, was an aspiration, obviously. They had Donkey Kong arcade, and they had a tabletop Pac-Man. And I can remember just after school every day, you know, wanting to go up and play Pac-Man. I loved the Pac-Man game. And so really, that's my earliest memory of actually kind of really playing a game and wanting to be in it. Of course, arcades are expensive, you know, so after a couple of rounds, you know, it's like, I'm not giving you any more of my money.
Yeah, right. Hey, Mom, quarters, please.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, so that that kind of got me kind of my eyes open to kind of the video game world, but then so we jumped in. You know, we were, you know, lower middle class at best. You know, we weren't well off. I was raised by a single mom, you know, who did, you know, the best that she could, but you know, just life, right? And so we really didn't get a lot of stuff, you know, at launch, and you know, my dad wasn't really in the picture. And he actually died when I was 11, so I didn't really have like anybody in my family that was really into games. So it wasn't like something that, you know, I had a dad that was like, oh, you should check this out. Like, I didn't have that. So, you know, so going to Pizza Hut was my first kind of introduction. It's like, I like this medium, and so we ended up, and I couldn't tell you what year it was, but we ended up a couple years after the NES launched finding one at a garage sale.
Shout out to garage sales.
Yeah, man,
please,
garage
so good.
That's right. So I remember bringing home, we got what I remember is we had an NES with the Super Mario Brothers and the Duck Hunt dual pack, the dual cartridge, and then we got Track and Field with the track pack.
Oh my God.
So that was the first time we brought a console into the house, and it was great, man. I mean, it was revolutionary, you know, for a little. I probably had to been, I would put it somewhere around 88, maybe 87, 88. So what, that makes me 5 or 6, you know. So for a 5-6 year old kid to get this first console, you know, right in his living room to be able to play, it was huge.
Yeah, no more quarters. That's always fun.
That's right.
Yeah, no more quarters. The number one, and boss, also shout out to Pizza Huts that had sit down areas. Those don't really exist anymore. Most of your Pizza Huts are your, hey, here's your pizza, get the hell out of here. We don't have arcades. I had a similar Pizza Hut that was up the street that had a sit down area that had I think just 2 arcade games. If I remember, one of them was like that SNK like Metal Slug, like that combo arcade cabinet that they had. So I remember like ours just having the one. But yeah, dude, like to think back, like even Pizza Huts don't even have sit down places anymore. Like,
no.
There's so many. Like when I see one, I'm like, oh my god! And they had the pizza buffets, dude. Like when you were a kid, man, pizza buffets were the truth. That was like the greatest day of your life. It's like pizza,
so
good pizza buffet, by the way, not like Golden Corral, like. Yeah, we got pizza. Like, no, this is like actually good pizza.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you growing up, you know, middle class America, Pizza Hut was like, you know, it was like fine dining when it came to pizza. You know, I mean, like that was, you know, it was like you could have your Totino's $1 frozen pizza, but like when it's Friday, you know, when it's payday, it's like, hey, we're gonna go get real pizza at Pizza Hut. And yeah, I mean, it was.
You want to hear you want to taste like what real crust and sauce tastes like instead of cardboard out of a box? Sure, this is this is what real pizza tastes like. Yeah, that's how it was for me. We had a grocery store that would do pizzas there. Like they weren't like the ones you take home and cook. Like they actually made pizzas there that were just in a box. And at the same time, this grocery store had a video rental place in there. So
that's cool.
It was like, we're getting some rentals, we're getting a pizza, we're going home. I'm like, greatest weekend ever. But yeah, and I mean, yeah, it's also too, you getting an actual console. I mean, that was the other thing too, is like, of course, some of the arcade experiences weren't there for consoles. You know, some of them were. I mean, Pac-Man is Pac-Man. I mean, it's Pac-Man. But, you know, I mean, that's 100% the best thing in the world is the fact that you had a system in your home you could play that did not have to have quarters. Mom was probably pretty happy about that. And of course, those garage sales where randomly they would have just random shit. Like, we have 4 NESs with 17 controllers and 6 copies of Mario Duck Hunt for no reason. Like, why do we have all this? I'm just convinced there was like 8 NESs in rotations at garage sales at one point in the world. Like, there was only 8 in the world that just went to different garage sales throughout the world. Right. So that's my guess.
It's like a mandatory, like a 4-month usage, and then it's like, all right, we gotta resell this thing again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they had like a tag. It's like, please sell in an awful garage sale by this date. Yeah, it was like the ring tape. It just got passed down to people and people. That's what it was. No, I mean, the garage sale finds were always good because some people either were so over it because they got their, and I was the same way as you. Like, I didn't get everything at launch, but some people were either so over their old shit once they got their new system that they would just sell it for next to nothing. Or you just get somebody who was selling things at a garage sale for their family and didn't know the value of something. Yeah. So then they would just sell it and who cares or whatever. But yeah, man, like I remember garage sale finds. But yeah, I also, like I said, remember just random lots of just nonsense. Please tell me you definitely did the whole cheating with track and field where you just...
With your hands? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's... yeah, of course.
Because God forbid, like, real track and field. Like, dude, like, when you're a kid, it's like, this is fun. But then after a while, you're like, all right.
Yeah.
You just smash on the table, smash on the floor. Like, that's what you did.
It's kind of like the Wii, you know, when Wii Sports came out. You know, and for like the first couple rounds of golf, you stand up and you're trying to get your right form. By the third day, you're sitting in a chair being like,
yep, exactly. Yeah. Once you realize like it doesn't need your body to be that active, like playing tennis, like you were up, bouncing back and forth on balls in your feet, just like, all right, let's go. And then exactly. Day 2, you're sitting on the couch, just like eating Cheetos with one hand, just swinging a Wii controller with the other one. Hopefully the Wii controller doesn't fly out of your hand and just crack your TV. Yeah, all that fun stuff.
For sure. No, it was funny. Yeah, so I mean, for me, you know, as the NES, you know, I consider myself even today a Nintendo kid, and you know, depending on how deep, you know, we go tonight, I kind of veer off a little bit, but you know, so along with video games, I've always been a huge animation fan, growing up, and I love like the Disney Power Hour. So for me, you know, NES, I mean, you know, of course I love Mario, you know. I really love Mega Man, and those games were great. But dude, DuckTales is my game, and I loved DuckTales so much. I loved the cartoon. I loved the song. When the game came out, it was just so cool, you know, to have. And I think DuckTales was actually the first game that I got new, and I want to say I got it for like a birthday. It could have been Christmas but I feel like it was a birthday. But yeah, I just remember pretty much everything we had on the NES was, you know, secondhand, either given to us or bought at a garage sale or, you know, or something like that. But I do remember the boxed copy of DuckTales, you know, I don't have any of that crap anymore. It like stuff like that I would love to have, you know, like that one specifically. But yeah, man, DuckTales was my game. I played that game over and over. I love DuckTales.
I try to think of like what happened to all my old stuff. Like what happened to any of it? You know what I mean? Like where did my NES go? Did it get sold? Did I trade it in? Did I do this? And I try thinking back that way. Same thing with like Star Wars figures. Like I was big into Star Wars when they had Power of the Force and the movies were coming back. The original movies were being redone with those awful CGI graphics. Thanks, George Lucas. When they did all those, I was really big into Star Wars. And like I went to my mom's house. I'm like, hey, do you still have my Star Wars toys? And she's like, yeah. They're in the basement. I'm like, cool. So I show up and I'm like, where's half my shit? Like, I don't know where any of this stuff went. And it's kind of the same thing when I think back of like my NES. I swear to God, my NES, my grandma probably still has at the house. Like,
oh, that's cool.
She played the hell out of certain games, but I mean, like, I'm sure it's somewhere. But again, it's like same thing. My Genesis.
Yeah.
I got a PlayStation. Where did all my Genesis shit go? Like, what did I even do with it? I don't even remember. So, I mean, it's kind of bumming because in a way, it's nice to have that stuff. Some people, like I said, very much collect things and things like that. I am now to a point where, unless it's a franchise I care deeply about, I will churn and burn and get rid of it. I do not care to hang on to stuff just because I will play a game and beat it, and I'm like, that's a great game. I will probably have no time to ever play this game again. So, just getting rid of it.
Yeah.
The only thing is now, like, sometimes I feel, I'm not going to say bad, but I feel in a way, like, obligated to, like, shit, I got to beat this game. Like, God of War, I keep going back to God of War, and again, great game, not crapping on God of War, but, like, I just feel like I have to, like, I keep playing it, and it's, like, longer than I thought, and I'm like, all right, I'm almost to the end. Let me just get this done and beat it. Just so, like, I can continue on. I have Far Cry 5 to play, and I haven't even started State of Decay 2, and I'm just like, I actually have a backlog, which very rarely happens because I'm very cautious about the games I buy. Like, I don't buy things day one, but, like, back then there wasn't an option to buy things day one. Like, it's not like I made my own money to do it. I was in the same boat as you where it was like birthday, Christmas.
Yeah.
Birthday, Christmas.
Exactly.
Did you actually, when was your birthday throughout? Like, did you actually have a good span of time, or were you
not really?
January
no,
months?
No, not really. So my birthday's in February, so it was a real quick turnaround.
So bad, man.
Yeah, so yeah, it was not good. You know, the one good thing, my grandmother was awesome. She was great about giving, like, overpaying me for chores.
Right.
Even though, so my mom struggled, pretty much all of our life, as a kid, and, made ends meet, but that was about it. But my grandparents were really well off. My grandfather was a pharmacist, retired Marine Corps guy, and so they were well off. So she'd be like, hey, I'd come over the weekend and be like, hey, I really like you to blow off the driveway today, and sweep up the leaves off the sidewalk. Would be great if you could do that. And then she'd give me like $50, and I'm like,
holy shit,
this is not, these two things don't equate, But she was really, she was really great about, kind of making me work for it, but still understanding that, and that was of course a little later, as I got a little bit older, she would do that, in my teens and stuff. But she was real good about stuff like that. But that actually kind of brings me to, she bought, so the first console I got brand new was my Game Boy, and so I am, to this day, and the reason I love the Switch as much as I do is, to this day, I consider myself a handheld gamer. And even more so now as a parent, and just, time is a commodity, and I don't have the hours to sit in front of a TV. I'm normally somewhere doing something. So being able to have something portable. So I cannot remember a time in my life when I didn't have a handheld with me almost at all times. Game Boy, I got a Pocket, I got a Color, I got a GBA, I got a GBA SP. I actually imported a GBA SP from Japan to get it like 8 months early, whatever that time frame was. DS, DS Lite, DSi, 3DS, 3DS XL, and then, and now Switch. I'm like handheld is kind of so I remember Christmas of '89, which was when, the Game Boy came out. I don't remember the launch date. I didn't look it up, but it was sometime early in '89, like maybe around summer. But I remember I got it for Christmas, and it was just the best, man. And the thing is growing up we only had one TV, and so it was always competing with mom, and mom would be like, turn that off, go to your room, we're watching something, or whatever, or company's over and I want you sitting on that, while people are hanging out or whatever.
Makes sense.
And so to be able to to go to my room and then have a TV in my hand and be able to play, like, the Game Boy was revolutionary for me as a kid. Like, it literally was like like a symbol of freedom, that just was so cool. So so I remember getting that Christmas of '89. That was the biggest kind of like gaming landmark in my life at that time. It was really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I can sympathize with the TV thing because there was the one TV in the house. I was the oldest of my sisters and everything, so I was the oldest kid, and so of course I had my own room. My sisters had to share a room. Sucks to be you guys, but whatever. I had my own room, and my dad quickly learned, like, he was just like, I cannot deal with you in here all the time. He's just like, I want to watch my shows. You're in here. You're trying to play games. I get it. And then, like, there was like a John Wayne marathon, and my dad loved the shit out of John Wayne. He's just like, John Wayne movies are amazing. And I remember I was just playing a game, and he's like, that's it. And he just, like, went somewhere. I don't know where he went, but he came back, and he's like, put this in your room. Take that in your room. I'm done. I'm going to watch my John Wayne movies now. I'm like,
oh, nice.
All right, fair enough. So thanks, John Wayne, for being awesome and making my dad go out and buy me a TV. It was like, of course, it wasn't like, it was way smaller. It was like a super basic TV. But it had the RF adapter. That's all I needed. Or it had like the RF. That's all I needed.
Yeah, that's all you needed.
And that TV lasted me forever. Thank God for RF adapters on like the PlayStation, because the TV's so old it didn't have the red, white, yellow.
Oh, that's right.
So I had to get RF adapters for like every damn system I ended up getting later on. But yeah, man, that makes sense. And the Game Boy side of things, you had the OG Game Boy, and like, obviously I get the whole portability, because for a while there I think everyone and their mother was into Pokemon. So I mean, like, you can't really. So many people were into Pokemon, so I mean, a lot of people had Game Boys and stuff. I do have a question for you, though, since you're big into portable. Do you wish Nintendo would just stop doing 3DS shit and just focus on Switch?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah. Actually, I mean, what I would like to see them do is I would like to see them. Everybody is talking about a Game Boy Classic, and I don't know that that's exactly what I want. What I want is another Game Boy, like a refined Game Boy that can play every cartridge ever made, and then stop making 3DS. Just put everything on Switch, and then let us play classic games on a refined Game Boy. That's what I want. Backlit, rechargeable, smaller form factor.
You mean you don't want a gray brick that you could throw and throw it and kill somebody? You don't want that?
No, not at all. I would do that, but even my whole argument is that I'm a grown man, and it's like, I walk around with a red Mario Odyssey Switch case, which I'm totally fine with. I have no problem with that. Right. But then, so I have my iPad Pro, right on top of it, I have a red Mario Odyssey Switch case, and I don't need on top of that a bright green Zelda 3DS case. Like that, that's too much, you know? So yeah, just put that crap on Switch. Look, if you want to keep, I have kids, my kids have 3DSs. If you want to keep putting stuff on 3DS, that's fine, but just put it on Switch too. I refuse to play. I refuse to play Metroid Return of Samus. Is that right?
Samus Returns.
Samus Returns.
Yeah, something
I
like
refuse to play it because I'm not playing a 3DS. I'm
Right.
done.
When
So if
you
you
have-
want me to play
you-
that game, put it on a Switch.
You go back to a 3DS from a Switch, it is like a straight baby toy. You're like, oh my god,
like,
this thing is. Ugh.
How did I play with this for so
How
long?
did I think this was advanced? Like, But no, I mean, that's the whole thing with the Switch stuff. Like, when I talk to people, some people are like, no, they should have a separate library. I'm like, screw that. Put everything on. If you want to do it on both. Like, they did that with Captain Toad.
Yeah,
good for them.
exactly.
But the moment they said Mario Party's Best 100 was only on 3DS, my wife got so frustrated because she loves Mario Party, and she's like, stupid. She's like, stupid decision. By the way, Mario Party being on a DS is like blasphemy. Like, you should be on a big TV with 4 people in the same room playing, because Nintendo can't figure out the internet, but that's a different podcast. But no, I'm just like, I would hope that Nintendo would get if this Nintendo conference that happens says a mention of a 3DS game, unless they're like, it's coming to both. If there's any 3DS game that's only 3DS, I just
Yeah, I feel like you're going to be disappointed.
Probably.
I just like, I get it from a business standpoint. It has the biggest install base of any console right now. I get that, but it's like, but what you're saying is exactly right. I mean, SteamWorld Dig did it. SteamWorld Dig 2 came to both. You said Toad Treasure Trackers come to both. Like that's fine. I'm not like against the 3DS. I just will never play it again. Yeah. So if you want me to buy your games, put them on Switch too. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think you would find yourself, though, with that same mentality, do you think you would find yourself playing a Game Boy Classic?
I do.
Just because of the same nostalgia, like playing an NES Classic.
I think it's nostalgia, and then the other thing is, in my head, it looks a little bit like the Game Boy Micro,
right?
And
no one remembers. Like
I had a Game Boy Micro.
That thing showed up, and everybody's like, "Wow, this is cool." It is so small, it's so tiny. I can't do this.
It would need to be a little bit bigger, but in my mind, that's the size of it. So where I'm carrying my Switch in a pouch and and maybe in my bag, like the Game Boy Micro literally goes in my front, in my pocket. And if I have 2 minutes to play something, I can pull it out. And there's obviously with those cartridges, there's like absolutely no load times, and you just pop in and play something. So I could definitely see myself. And then of course, for the nostalgia. I mean, I would love to go back and play whatever, Tetris, or I freaking love Pokemon Pinball, and they actually had a really cool DuckTales game. Again, DuckTales is my jam, so they had a really cool DuckTales game on Game Boy too. Any of those GBA games, Advance Wars and Advance Wars 2.
There's a lot of good, advanced games. There's a lot of good
games. Yeah. So I mean, just to be able to pull that out and play it for nostalgia reasons as well would be really cool. I think
like the one thing that threw me off was, with like the NES Classic, for example, they charged $80 or $70 for it, and I was just shocked that they did that, which is cool, right? Nostalgia, old controller, all that stuff. Why doesn't Nintendo just make a cart of those games and sell it on Switch for $60 for the same price? You don't have to manufacture a whole console. You just put it on a game cart for Switch. I'm just shocked that they haven't done anything like that, which obviously they're going in a different direction. They're not doing Virtual Console now. They're doing their subscription, whatever, which I'm still like, let's see how that works. But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, I'm just shocked that, they haven't gone even that route. When they started doing the Virtual Console stuff on 3DS, I thought that was really smart. Cause like I said, like, as soon as you said Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow are on Virtual Console,
of course,
like,
yeah,
duh,
fantastic, yeah.
Exactly, like, good for you. Like, that's all you need to do and everything. But yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea either for them to come out with a Game Boy Classic. And again, a Game Boy Classic, it's cheap enough now to where you could have a decent. If a 7-inch Kindle costs $50, it can't cost much more for Nintendo to do something like that. You know what I mean? That's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not out of the realm of like price, because like, I'm shocked that you can buy a Kindle for $50 that has like apps and is full color touchscreen and rechargeable battery. Like, Nintendo could do it if they wanted to.
I like the idea of a cartridge. We on this Nintendo nostalgia, and I guest host with them sometimes, Jacob Rush and Ryan Black, and we actually did our E3 prediction show this week. I think it'll be live, or it's live now. But yeah, that was actually one of my predictions. I think that Nintendo will do it. I think that they've heard the outcry from the fans since they basically murdered Virtual Console, and they've already built the software platform. I mean, we're not even talking about emulating the games. We're talking about an actual dashboard. Like
right.
What the NES and the SNES Classic do is a full-fledged dashboard full of games with
right.
save states, and it looks really nice. You literally just put that on a cart, and now you have the entire collection right on the Switch. I mean, it's a no-brainer to do, and I kind of feel like at this point, especially with saying the Virtual Console is basically not coming, I think that it would really be in their best interest to do that, just to give fans, a bit of that nostalgia, to help. So
also too, they've already done all the back end work for the dashboard and for the games. Like, you'd imagine there'd be way better profit margins in making a cart for Switch instead of manufacturing this console with controllers. And like, how is that not a much better idea, just to be like, okay, cool. Like, and I get it. Like, initially people were saying they didn't want to do it because Virtual Console was going to happen, because why would they charge you $60 for 30 games when they were charging $5 a pop on Wii Virtual Console, which makes complete sense. But then when they decided that's not what we're doing, then people were,
no.
Just do that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense for them not to do it. I don't own either one of the classic systems.
I don't either.
And I have no plan to buy them simply because I just don't want to play them like sitting at my TV. I have an Xbox One, I have a Switch. Like, if I'm going to sit down and play, but the fact that if it was on my Switch on the go, I could pick it up and play it like that. Like, that's appealing to me, and so that's where it needs to be. If they put it there, I would buy it day one without question.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just, but Nintendo, they're going to do Nintendo things, and we'll see what they do. So, again, though, because again, in our eyes, we say that makes too much sense, and they probably have some weird reasoning or something why they don't, but we'll see what happens. Maybe E3 will shock us, and by the time this comes out, E3 will be happening, or maybe we're all just sounding real stupid right now. We don't know. I mean, who knows? We'll find out.
That's true.
So when you, obviously, like you said, you had NES. I don't remember you saying, did you ever have brothers and sisters or anything?
Yeah, so I have a brother who's 7 years younger, and then a sister who's 9 years younger. So they came later. Unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot of playing like together. By the time they got old enough to play, we were kind of in the. I mean, we're close to the N64 age, probably by the time they got played, and so we played some, N64, but we didn't really play a lot. It was mostly just me, and then I left. I actually moved out when I was 16, which means that. That my brother was, what does that make him, 9? Mm-hmm. So we didn't really get a lot of game time, together. So
yeah, I mean, also too, like, I think there's a golden age of, like, if I had a brother that was 2 years younger than me, it'd be real awesome. Because like you'd be very close to age, very close, similar age. But then when you have like a 9-year gap or a 7-year gap, like, that's where you're like, it's harder, because then you're like, man, I don't want to play with you, man. You're a little kid, bro. I'm in middle school and high school, man. I'm in adult things. No, I mean, that's the only problem that happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I have, like, the only thing I'm happy about is my 12-year-old son gets along with my 3-year-old daughter quite well. He's not one of those that's like, go away, don't talk to me. Cool. He's at least cool about it, but yeah, I can imagine if it was that big of an age gap, not only just like gaming, but also like similar interests. You know what I mean? Like, you're into stuff that he's absolutely probably not into at all, and vice versa. So I can imagine that being a bit harder and everything. Yeah,
I mean, the only thing I can really think of that, I think we played, Mario Kart 64. I think was maybe the one game that we would play, and I think if I remember correctly, that was kind of a family game. Even my mom would play, that some, and but yeah, like mostly, I have, I struggle with this now. It's funny because I've gotten more into multiplayer gaming probably in the last couple of years than I have almost my entire life, because I've just always kind of, and maybe it's the kind of the handheld gamer in me, where for so long you're, being a handheld gamer, it's just kind of you in your own little world with your own screen, and it's just kind of, and that's just kind of how it's. So I've always gravitated towards single player experiences or, stuff like that, and so that may have manifested itself a little bit, but yeah, it started in college. It helped. So when I started college in 2000, that was the gap between 64 coming up on GameCube, and so my first year in college was all about Smash Brothers on 64, Mario Kart on 64, but more importantly, WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy. Yes. And I cannot tell you how many hours I put into WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy in the college dorm. We had everybody create their own characters. Both of those games allowed you to create your own pay-per-view, and so we created our own pay-per-view. No Mercy allowed you to create your own belts that you could wear to the ring, and so we would have our own belts. And it was just one of the best gaming experiences of my life was that first year at college. In your freshman year is not always, but mine specifically was it's a little more light. You're not into the really heavy stuff yet. And so, and plus you haven't kind of gotten acclimated to college life. So it was a lot of late nights and we were No Mercy people, man. We wrestled all the time. And
the coolest thing is in that was the golden age of couch co-op, you being able to have 4 ports and 4 controllers. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. With Mario Kart, I was thinking around the time he was, your little brother was old enough to play games. I mean, definitely, especially when you said 64, I'm like, dude, that's prime multiplayer stuff right there. But shout out to wrestling games because they just got more and more ridiculous. I didn't have a 64, but that was I remember when I went to my friend's house, that was all I wanted to play. I didn't want to play. Didn't give a shit about Mario Kart. I didn't give a shit. I did not care about any of those. Obviously, I was into wrestling at the time, but I was just we need to play WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy.
They're just so good.
We have to play these. And of course, you bring up the wrestling stuff, create your ...
Yeah.
It got so ridiculous with what you can do. I had, and the PlayStation games were not that great. They had the Raw and Attitude, which, by the way, you want to laugh your ass off, go watch YouTube videos of those. They are atrocious. They are just such bad games. People walking around just stiff-armed. Their hands didn't close. It was just this, and it's just the worst. But then 64 had the good wrestling games. PlayStation had SmackDown, but it started getting ridiculous. I can imagine you probably played hundreds of hours of that game, and you probably played 25 hours of actually wrestling matches because all the hundreds of hours you spent creating stuff.
It was
dude, there was just so much. And then
you could set all your moves.
All of them.
I mean, you go down. It's okay. What is your up and A? Your grapple up and A move. Your grapple, left and A move. Your grapple right and A move. You're just going through
so ridiculous
list of moves. It was.
But at first it was creative wrestler, and I was like, that's revolutionary.
That's okay.
That's so. Well, at the time, I mean, you could do all that, and of course, everybody took the stunner for their finishing move because everybody wanted that. But then it started getting ridiculous. Create your own move, then create your own pay-per-view, create your own belt, create your own entrance, create your own I'm like, holy shit, dude! And again, it just got worse and worse though because it already took an hour for dude to get his facial hair right. Let alone get the next move set down. All right, man, I'm contemplating, man. Do I have up and A be this or this? We are standing here fucking waiting for you to hurry up right now. But then again, you get down with that and it's all right, cool. Now, let me go ahead and make my own finishing move. Create your own finishing move from scratch. You're like, dude, man. Especially if you rented it, you did not. You were like, no, we did not have time for this shit.
No.
You picked Stone Cold, I picked The Rock, and let's just go. I don't have time for this shit. We got 3 days with this game.
No, we probably did I mean, I would guess 75%. I lived on campus on the dorm, in the dorms my freshman year. We probably had 75% of the entire dorm. That was a smaller school, but still 75% of the entire dorm were on my cart. All nice. Creative players. We had stables. It was insane. God, that was my life until the next year, because something happened the next year, which was the release of the Xbox and the GameCube, and I went all in on GameCube, obviously, because I'm a Nintendo guy. Right. But most of my friends jumped to Xbox and started doing a little thing called LAN parties.
Oh my
with
God.
A little game called Halo, and so
college. That sounds like the greatest time ever.
Yeah, I mean, it was great, but I just remember, I was in my room playing, Rogue Squadron 2, and I would just walk down the halls, and there'd just be cords strapped, going from room to room, and I'd just like peek in and be like, what is this madness that's happening? So yeah, it was great. So
and then also, well, we kind of missed it, but like, so did you just go Super Nintendo, or did you kind of, because of like your mom and everything not being well off, did you kind of like go from NES, hung on to that for as long as you could, then jump to 64, or did you actually have a Super in the middle? Or
no.
Game Boy
So I had the Game Boy. So I never jumped in to that second gen. I never got an SNES or a Genesis. Now I had friends that had both, and so I have some experience, with both of them. I really, on Genesis, I remember my friend had Toe Jam and Earl. That was his game, and he wanted to play that all the time. And then of course, NBA Jam came out, and we played just tons and tons of NBA Jam.
So good.
And then like Super NES, we played a lot of Mario World was kind of the game that I really remember most from SNES. But yeah, I never owned either one of those. And so so then I remember my 64. I got my 64 for Christmas in '96. Now the thing about the 64 is it was very, very hard to come by. I mean, that initial shipment sold out pretty good. I think it launched in, I want to say September, maybe October, something like that. But they sold out really fast. They were hard to get. And so my mom, she surprised me, and she knew how much I wanted it. I was at the age now where I, seeing commercials, and I knew what was going on, and I was like, yes, this is, I want this. And so she actually surprised me on Christmas morning with the N64. I wasn't quite like the N64 kid,
I was going to ask. I had to ask, like, were you N64 kid?
I was pretty excited, but I wasn't quite that excited. So I got that in Super Mario 64, and that Christmas, and that was just one of the most, just one of the greatest memories I had, as a kid. Just so great. Just freaking playing Mario all day. Just like, I don't want to eat Christmas dinner. Just leave me alone. All I want to do is play Mario. You created this. It's your fault.
Yeah. That was, oh dude. I totally forgot about that. Like Christmas, like I got my game, I just want to play it. It's time to eat. Not now. No, it's time to eat. Get your ass in
hungry
here. Like, okay, well, I'll eat. And then you go there and eat like you're in a goddamn army, just like, and then just run.
This is great.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want dessert? No, I don't need dessert. I'm fine.
I don't give a shit. We're having ice cream. I don't care, Mom. Like, all right, I'm going by. My son does the same thing. Like, lately he has his, games in his room, and he's like, I was in the middle of a game, Dad. I'm like, I don't care. It's time to eat dinner, man. If you're not eating dinner now, you're not going to eat dinner later. Just eat now. Fine. And that kid can eat, but there are just days where he'll eat one plate of food or something. I'm like, are you done? He's like, yep. I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yep. And he just runs upstairs. I'm like, I know what he said no, but okay.
That's funny. Yeah. So I mentioned earlier my grandma kind of, overpaying me to do chores and things. And that was kind of this era. So like the N64 is probably of course, outside of handheld, but like handheld to me is in my mind kind of my home base. But the N64 as a home console is the console that I'm probably most familiar with, because this is when I was buying my own games. I was making, my grandma was overpaying me to do all kind of just, can you bring the groceries in from the car? Here's $20. Great. This is great. You can do this anytime you want.
Did that ever mess with you when you got a real job? Because that would bum me out. I'm like,
and they're
okay,
like,
here's a real job. Here's your paycheck.
$6.25. I'm sorry, what?
What? Last time I checked, I braked off the driveway and got paid $50. This is bullshit. I'm gonna go work for grandma.
That's right. So I started buying more of my stuff, and then so when I started college, I took the 64 with me. That's what I had, and then so in college, the first console I ever bought with my own money was my GBA. I bought it at Toys R Us. It came out, I want to say March, I think, of 2001. So it would have been my second year. Or I guess that would have been my second semester, but still first year, my freshman year in college. So, got the GBA, and then later that fall, I bought the GameCube with my, that was the first home console I bought with my own money.
Right.
And, and so then, I bought into Xbox late, because I was a GameCube guy, but, everybody was playing Halo, and so I saved some money, and, I think I got it maybe 2 years after release. It was pretty late, but that kind of got me on the Xbox train. I'm a pretty big Xbox fan now.
Good man.
Yeah. So, and that kind of started me on there. And then Xbox did the thing that I don't think people give Xbox credit for, as far as from a logistical standpoint, is that they launched the 360 a complete year ahead of both Wii and PS3.
Right.
And that is the reason that Xbox became a player in the market, because the original Xbox didn't really make that much of a dent.
Not right.
And so 360 came out. The two things that it did great was it had a year lead time, and then it introduced a little thing called achievements, and that changed the way video games were perceived and were shared and were experienced. And having a whole year ahead, they knew what they were doing. You're building up all these third-party achievements, so whenever the PS3 comes out, you're like, well, I could buy it on the PS3, but I've already put a year into this, this economy,
right,
if you will, and so that's how the 360 was able to be as dominant as it was for that generation. But yeah, I mean, I've owned every, obviously not the SNES, but I've owned every home console that Nintendo's done, and since the 64, including Wii and Wii U, and I'm a big Nintendo fan, but yeah, I mean, I would probably, I consider the Switch a handheld, So if somebody was to ask me, like, the Xbox One is my home console of choice, and I consider Switch, my current handheld. So
what's really funny is, like, for the Switch, I know it goes handheld. I know it does. However, I work from home.
Oh, nice.
I don't travel often, because traveling with a family as huge as I have is like a circus, so it's not fun. But what's funny is, like, my son definitely treats the Switch more as a portable console, and I treat it more as a home console. Like, we have 3 docks in the house. So, like, my room, my game room, the living room, the loft upstairs for the kids. And, like, I played Zelda and Mario, and I beat them both with a Pro Controller, which, by the way, God, that Pro Controller is so good.
I love it.
Dude, I took the Switch to the office, because occasionally I have to go into the office for my job. And I went to the office, and that was when Odyssey was out, and I was playing it with 2 Joy-Cons, and it just felt wrong. It was just like, I don't like this. Where's this Pro Controller at? Yeah. The best part is, I've seen my son lay down on the floor, not the couch, just lay down on the floor, on his stomach, has the Switch propped up with a Pro Controller in his hand, playing it 6 inches from his face, and I'm like,
that's great.
Like, you don't want to use the Joy-Cons? He's like, No. He's like, no, these are way better, Dad. What my favorite thing that I thought about is, to me, the Joy-Cons almost feel like, and this sounds really bad, but back in the day when you had 3 controllers or 2 controllers, but one of them was that busted third-party nonsense. Yeah. That's what a Joy-Con feels like to me. Like, you play a Pro Controller, and you're just like, this is a controller. And then those Joy-Cons, you feel them, and they're flimsy, and you're just like, I get it why it's on the go, like, sure, but, like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So while you were talking, I looked up the release date for the 64.
Yeah.
And here's another thing that people don't understand. Think about this shit. The 64 launched in Japan June of 96. Okay. In America, North America, September. So 4 months after it was in Japan, it came out. Which, by the way, that shit's unheard of now. Like, they don't do that shit anymore.
No.
And then it didn't come out in Europe or Australia till March of 97.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Dude, it was out for 3 more months. It would have been out a year in Japan.
A year. That's crazy.
Ridiculous. Because, back in the day, games got staggered launches. Consoles, though, that seems weird to me. Like, why would a console have a staggered launch? But I guess localizing the games took that long still.
Maybe
they just didn't have the games ready for localization for US, and I don't know. But I always found that odd, which out of all systems, though, out of all companies, Nintendo's still the weird one when it comes to game launches, because
they're bonkers.
Europe will get it before us, and I'm like, what the fuck?
What's
that about?
We speak the same language. How hard is this?
Shit's not different. Change the pound sign to a dollar sign. We're not that different, people. I don't get it. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy because I feel Nintendo, because all the other consoles are worldwide launches now. They don't wait for shit.
Yeah.
They don't.
No.
Yep. No. Some granted, some areas may have more of stock than other countries and stuff, and I get that. But to think back, dude, if you had a 64 and you knew Japan had it for 9 months and then you finally got it, that would piss me off.
But,
and now region locking was so hard back then too. It wasn't open and free where you could import it. If you imported a console, then you had to import the games and hope they had English in them. And yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah, but the world was so much smaller. 64 was prior to the internet.
Right.
How did you even so and I say this as me, I had no idea that it was out in Japan whenever it was. I had no idea until you just told me, and I probably maybe have heard it at some point, but I didn't recall it until you just said that it was released the following year in Europe. It's just the world was so small back then. It just without the internet connecting us, you don't really those things aren't really, especially to a teenager, aren't as prevalent. Now, I mean, you would
imagine
look on
that
Twitter,
shit now. Imagine that shit now. If Nintendo's by the way, we're launching Breath of the Wild in Japan and US will get it 6 months later. No. Fucking people would light Nintendo headquarters on fire. They would be so mad. Of course, a lot of it would be internet muscles, and they would just say they would do things. But no, there would be harm to people, which is so terrible to say. But dude, I'm just saying, there would just be outrage, and there would be there would be a petition.org for it. It'd be stupid. Everybody would make a big deal out of it. But Nintendo still does that weird stuff though with certain games. I think it was, I think Captain Toad or something, some game like that, or Kirby or something, came out in Europe a month before or something. And I'm like, why? What?
Yeah. Well, and Labo came out here maybe 2 or 3 weeks before it came out in Europe. As well. Yeah,
Cardboard can't ship over the Atlantic, apparently. Or it can't stay on the same damn continent and just go east or west a little bit. Come on, people.
It's funny.
It's funny, but I said, I can't even friggin' imagine that. 9 months. But, and then, shout out to Xbox for, I mean, like you said, the achievement thing was good. I also think, number one, the fact that Microsoft knew online was going to be big while everybody else was we'll do it. It'll be cool. And then Microsoft's just straight no, this shit is going to change everything. And original Xbox had Ethernet built in. Think about this. Old PlayStation modem had dial-up on it. Imagine playing... Do we bitch about lag in games now? 56K trying to play SOCOM. What? What are we doing here? Trying to play Madden on 56K? Real quick, Madden 2018 on Xbox One with 100 megabit downloads runs like shit sometimes. Come on, man. Madden, 99 on dial-up? Get the fuck out of here. Nobody wants to do that. But Microsoft knew ahead of time. That was, I remember when of course, I was really big into Halo, and then Halo 2, which I still love Halo to death. But I remember getting high-speed internet at my apartment. Me and my wife, we had our own apartment. I got high-speed internet there. I did not have a computer. I did not have any of that shit. I just had an Xbox.
Had an Xbox.
And the guy who came to install it was like, where's your computer? I'm like, I'm wanting you to plug it in right in that machine right there. And he looked at me like I was a psycho. He's like, what is that? I'm like, it's an Xbox. It plays games online. It has an Ethernet port in there. I need that to work. He had to call somebody and was like, how do I configure this to work? What do I do? Dude, I was like, all right. And then as soon as he left, I'm like, cool, I can play NHL online now? He's like, I guess. I'm like, cool, thanks, bye. Have a good day. So, that was the number one thing. I was because high-speed internet, man, was still also so forward-facing, because again, people were still using dial-up and shit, and to have cable internet was whoa, dude. But especially if you're at school, man, like, holy shit, you have T1. Like,
yeah, man.
You have the best internet available anywhere.
It was great. Yeah, and I think that's what I really love about and respect about Microsoft. And people, especially right now. I mean, the vocal cry right now is there's no exclusive games, and that's not true. There's not God of War, and there's not Breath of the Wild. Like, yeah, they don't have a perfect 10 game unless you count Forza, but people would like to overlook Forza because it's just iterative. But whatever.
Forza Horizon 3 is flat out incredible.
It's great, but what they do is they understand. I think they have a better pulse on the industry than any other company, and I think they have, just like you said, back all the way back to the original Xbox and launching live. I think right now, Game Pass is setting the bar for what the future is going to be.
The greatest thing. Like,
it's so good.
Everybody said we want Netflix for games, and Microsoft's like, we got it.
There you go. Yeah.
But they don't have exclusives. But dude, they sell an Xbox now that has 3 months of live and 3 months of Game Pass. It doesn't even have
insane.
It doesn't have and what's crazy too is I just thought about this. Almost every Xbox bundle has a game with it. Everyone, like, if you go buy a PlayStation 4, they don't have games with them, like, generally, whereas, like, every Xbox has, like, Sea of Thieves or PUBG or Minecraft or something. But, like, the fact that they are so gun-ho on Game Pass, they straight went, here's 3 months of Game Pass, 3 months of live, and there's not a game in here, and that is actually not a bad idea, because you can play so much. Yeah. Granted, you don't have download caps for your internet.
Sure. And again, this goes back to, Halo, right? I mean, Xbox Live. It's like, a lot of people didn't have that capability, but Microsoft knew that's where the future is. In 2 or 3 years from now, we're going to be looking at Game Pass and be like, holy crap, this has changed the video game industry, because, we'll catch up to it. And that's what Microsoft's always been good about. I have no worries about where Microsoft's going and what they're doing. Do I want to see some better exclusives? Absolutely. Do I think the next Halo game is going to be amazing? Absolutely. But right now they don't have a God of War, and that's fine. And I honestly don't think they're going to have anything at E3 to change that perception. I think that right now they are just really kind of building the runway for what the next generation is going to be. And I think that that's kind of where their mindset is.
I think they just realized very quickly that as a company, Microsoft realized services make money.
Absolutely.
They've
That's
changed.
Where they make money.
They changed they really could care less if you buy an Xbox, but if you bought their game, they're happy. If you bought Game Pass, they're extremely happy. Microsoft Office is now more sold as a subscription than it is a flat out one-time purchase. They realize real quick, we can make a ton of money just selling subscriptions. And the fact that Game Pass is the cost of what it is, and not to mention, of course, when they straight went, all first-party titles are coming to this day one, I was like,
bonkers.
What the hell are you guys doing? And again, I wonder if that was like an internal thing, like the CEO of Microsoft's like, how much did that game cost to make? And we're going to put it on this thing for $10 a month. But guess what? I personally wouldn't have signed up for Game Pass if it wasn't for that. Only because... I'm not saying Game Pass wasn't good, but a lot of the games that I thought were the better games on there, I had already played and owned and beat, and I was like, these are cool. Like, Metal Gear was on there, all the Gears were on there, and I was like, those are all fun games. I've already played and beat them. I did the month trial, but then as soon as they said, day one, all these are coming to it, I'm like, well, I already planned to buy Sea of Thieves and State of Decay and Halo. There's games like Forza, for example, that I don't buy. I think are cool, but I'm not as big into racing games. But the fact that Game Pass is like, here it is for free.
Yeah.
Why would I not download it and at least check it out? So I mean, and again, Microsoft just hopes everybody subscribes and forgets about it, but guess what? That model works. Sorry.
Yeah.
People will but $10 a month, people just don't even give a shit. They're like, all right, whatever.
I mean, that's lunch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like lunch once a month. That's and you have access to over 100 games, all of the first party. I mean, we're talking about the new Halo that'll come out, the new Gears that'll come out. We're talking about Crackdown. The new, the brand new, Ori's, the sequel to Ori. All of those games you can just load and play day one without paying a single dime above your $10 subscription. That is unheard unheard of.
Pretty amazing
in the video game industry.
Yeah, and like I said, hopefully Sony. I think other people will catch suit though.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, I mean, again, like the problem is, here's the thing that always, in a way, I think I've said it before. In a way, I'm glad Microsoft got their mouth kicked in for a little bit because competition makes you do next level shit. Like you
Absolutely.
strive to do like wow, like because like Sony for a while there. They didn't have first-party shit for like the first 2 or 3 years of the PS4. Like they had your occasional random game here and there, but like if you look at those first 2 or 3 years, Microsoft was putting out game after game after game after game, whereas like Sony was like, we'll ride on Destiny and The Division and like all these third-party games. Now that we're 4 years, can you fucking believe it's been 4 years? 4 years in the life cycle. Now all of a sudden Sony's got all these baller-ass games, and Microsoft's kind of like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But again, like, it's just, right now it kind of sucks because Microsoft, if they do anything, if they do anything, people will shit on them, but that's the internet now. What's funny is, like, there's that book, Console Wars, that talks about the SNES and the Genesis and stuff, right? Which I heard is awesome. I haven't read it. I know. But
it's a good book.
I don't remember people straight going like, you own a Sega, you're a piece of shit. Like, I don't ever remember that sentence being said, ever. I don't ever remember, like, you own a 64, you are worthless. Like, the internet has just made us all terrible people for that. But, I know the good thing is, besides Jace plays games because he just likes to shit on things, but in a lighthearted way. I like Jace. He's good people. He just shits on things all the time. But sometimes it's funny to do it. But yeah, I mean, at least most of the community that I talk to on Twitter, they're not like that. So.
No. Yeah, I think that again, the problem is there's so many voices nowadays. We have invented a place where the people who want to be the loudest can be, and that's not necessarily healthy at all. And so it's important for us, people like us who just love. Like I don't like PlayStation. I've never owned a PlayStation. I never will. That's just kind of where I am. But I mean, if you like PlayStation, great. You like what you like. It doesn't matter to me. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. I think Hideo Kojima is the worst video game creator on the face of the earth.
Wow,
but outside of that,
shots fired. Oh
outside
my God.
Outside of that, you can like what you like. He's
worse than Peter Molyneux.
Man. Yeah.
Peter Molyneux is a goddamn liar.
Listen,
he said things are going to happen in Fable that never fucking did. Oh my God, Peter Molyneux's a goddamn Milo never happened.
Listen. The Holy Trinity is Hideo Kojima, David Cage, and Peter Molyneux. They're all just the worst. So, but no. Kidding aside, it's like like what you like. I mean, crap. I probably played more Saban's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers side-scrolling action game last year than probably any other game that I played. You know what? I'm completely fine with that because I freaking love Power Rangers. So
everybody has their random game that they like. I'm trying to. I mean, I think the one for me is Trials Evolution. I just love the Trials games. I'm one of those nerds that will
I suck at them so bad,
dude.
though.
I think when I get good at a game, I just like to gravitate towards that, like Rock Band. Like, there's only certain games I can, without a shadow of a doubt, be like, I am better than you, probably at this game. The two games, Rock Band and Trials, I'm probably better than most people that I know. Now, granted, am I top 10? No, I'm not that good. But I mean, if somebody's like,
but I'm better. But if you're listening, I'm better than you.
If you're listening, my viewer listener base, if you're listening, I might be better than you, Trials. If you think you are better than me, send me a friend request, MitchPower1116. Check my times, see how it works. Check my scores in Rock Band. But no, there's certain games that are small and weird and people enjoy them and stuff. And, I will say the side-scrolling Power Rangers beat 'em up though. I got burned on that shit for Genesis and, it was 30 minutes long. And my mom,
I love it, dude.
My mom probably overpaid for that game and shit.
I'm in on the things that this goes back to DuckTales. Like I played, the DuckTales remastered. It's like they can make a DuckTales game that literally just has you, pushing A to pay your respects. And I would absolutely play that game because
press A to dive into the coin vault.
That's right. That's right. Just over and over again. That's like
it's Echo the Dolphin with the coin vault.
That's it. I want that game.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm in for the stuff that I like, and so. Yeah, that Power Rangers game was awful. I mean, it's just bland. Just run left, right, punch a few times, go to the next area.
Beat it in 30 minutes.
But it's fine. I loved it.
They so straight preyed on kids' ignorance for video games back in the day with those licensed games. Some of those licensed games were just hot trash that they paid. Of course, it was a Power Rangers license, so you paid $90 for a Genesis cartridge, which was way overpriced. But then some of those licensed games are good too, but that's fine. So you never owned a PlayStation?
So, no, I did buy, several years into its life, I bought a PSP.
Okay.
For the sole purpose
for portability, you just had to get it.
Well, not even that. I jailbroke it, or whatever they call that. Yeah. So that I could play NES games on it.
Allegedly.
That was it. I never bought a PSP game. I bought the thing. I made it play NES games because at the time all I had was DS, which didn't have Virtual Console, and so that was the only way that I could play those NES games. And so that's what I did. But yeah, no, I've never owned a PlayStation.
Yeah, like what's funny is I remember the PSP when the moment that happened. It was like game-changing shit. People were like, what can you do on this thing? Yes. And then, of course, Sony. My favorite thing is like, dude, the PSP sold a lot. Like, a lot. And I guarantee you a good 40% at least sold and never sold a game. Like, they probably just bought it for the sole factor of doing that. Right. But no, like, that thing blew up crazy. And I always thought about that, like, Sony obviously doesn't want to encourage pirating and hacking.
Sure.
But also, too, do they give a shit if you're doing whatever you're doing with the software as long as they're selling consoles? Like, I guess there's some sort of, like law or something of, like, not preventing? I don't know. Like, because I thought about this, too. People with the Amazon Fire Sticks, and they do Kodi and all that stuff. You think Amazon gives a shit? Like, no. You're going to buy a Fire Stick from us, right? Cool. Thanks. And you don't see them doing updates to that. Like, they don't give a shit. They literally sell a product and they go, here's our intended use for it. Yeah. What you do after you pay us $40 for it. I don't know. So that's why I always thought like it was weird because so many people try to like lock down their systems, but I also was a problem for Vita, like memory cards being proprietary and games being like like you're just screwing yourself, like making people buy a 16 gig memory card that's $100 or something stupid and shit. PSP had it as well, but like it was at least it was like the same memory card that the Sony cameras used, so it wasn't like super duper proprietary, but then like with Vita they locked it down so hard that I bet you if it was a little bit easier to jailbreak they might have sold some more. But also too you run into like I don't know what kind of legal like well look at NES Classic. You can add shit to that and Nintendo just again they're just kind of like meh.
Yeah. Like, well, and I mean, there's no way to patch that crap. I mean, it's not connected to the internet at all. So I mean, they're just they're out of luck there. Yeah, that's one thing. You know, we normally give Nintendo a hard time because they do a lot of stupid stuff. But it was great that even going back all the way back to the DS when they started putting upgradable memory slots, it was all SD cards. You know, so like the Switch is micro SD, so you don't have to worry about proprietary crap. You go grab micro SD on Amazon and you're ready to go. Shout out to Nintendo
for that. Sony likes to make everything proprietary. But again, also too, like Sony spent money to make Memory Stick Duo a thing, and then eventually all the Sony cameras now they're like, I'm sorry, we'll just do SD cards. We'll quit fucking up.
Sure.
Like, we'll quit making mistakes. Like, we'll just make it SD cards. I remember the very first. I used to work at Best Buy, and all Sony cameras only worked with memory sticks. And it was so frustrating because like so many people wouldn't buy a Sony camera because their Canon just broke, and they were like, I'm not buying new memory cards. This is stupid. And then I remember the first model year came out, and it took both. It took a Sony took the memory stick and an SD, and that was like, holy shit. And you have no idea how many more Sony cameras we sold after that because of just that little thing. So that's why I'm shocked that like Sony went way nuts with Vita, like way crazy with Vita. And I'm like, bro, you guys need to tone it back. Like, well, I mean, the problem is like if you look at an SD card and the Vita memory card's like so much more for the same storage.
Oh, yeah. No, it was crazy. It was crazy expensive. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
Nothing wrong with the PSP, but like, dude, PSP sold a lot. Like a lot and everything. Yeah. So I can imagine that. I mean, it's not a problem that you didn't own a PlayStation. I would say the thing that sucks is like how Xbox is doing it with backward compatibility, like proper, how you could straight own an Xbox One and play like tons of old shit, which is awesome. I would say if Sony did that, it would definitely be worth getting a PS4 if they were like, by the way, we're doing PS2 and PS3 shit. Like, that would be worth it because there are some really good games on PlayStation. I will say primarily, I have all three, but 100% Xbox is my main console. I literally, my friends and I are kind of in the same boat where Xbox is our primary console and we have a PS4 that we knock the dust off when a good Sony exclusive comes out. I turn it on. There's like 7 system updates. I'm like, what the fuck? I just want to play God of War. Stop. But no, like I'll play God of War, and then after I'm done, I'm like, all right, well, I don't know what else is coming out. We'll figure that out. But no, I mean, it's cool to have, but also too, I mean, I have friends who are just straight like I'll just go on Twitch and watch the gameplay and experience it that way, and I'm like, that's a lot easier to do now because you couldn't really do that shit back then. You could go to a buddy's house and watch him play it, but.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've been around people, you know, in college and friends that have had, there were a couple people in the dorms that had PS1s, and then, I've been around PS2s, and so like I've played them. I hate the controller. Like I hate the controller. I like offset joysticks, and having them close together just throws my mind off when I'm playing. It just feels so weird.
It's a little weird, yeah.
But I mean, I don't like the Sony brand. I think that some of the people they've had in kind of front facing positions, they come across very cocky at times. I mean, even going back to the PS3 when they told you to get a second job to afford it, and I even think that the way they handled the Xbox debacle when Xbox is completely. I mean, he screwed everything up, but then Sony just continually dumped on them the entire year, and it's just like, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of the brand, but I will say this: Spider-Man is my favorite character of all time.
God,
and I love Insomniac. Love Sunset Overdrive.
Please Spider-Man. Please, I hope by the time we're talking 2 is announced at E3. I don't care. Man, I know it probably won't be, but please, just that game is so good.
Great. That's so cool. But Spider-Man looks so great. And I have never look. I know PlayStation has good games. People tell me about them all the time because they know that I'm not a Sony gamer. But I've never been tempted to own a PlayStation until now. Like, I want to play Spider-Man so dang bad. So it may change this fall. I may finally pick one up.
I will tell you that the good thing that Sony did, and because again, this is kind of what was happening at the beginning, was all of their best PS3 games, they straight just did remasters for PS4. So if you do get a PS4, you're going to have a good list of shit to play. Like, you will. Yeah. I mean,
well, if I pick one up, I'll hit you up. You can give me some.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, even like, the best PS3 games just got ported over as remasters to PS4. So, I mean, there's a good amount of stuff for you to play. Again, I'm in the same boat with you, though. Real quick, Xbox One Elite controller is hands down the greatest controller I think I've ever held in my life. It's just stupid. Like, it's so good. Like,
yep.
They made it better. Like, good for you. And by the way, everybody who says, oh my God, my Elite broke, what the hell is wrong with you people? Like, what do you guys do to your controllers to make them explode in your hands? Like, I don't get it. All these, like, I used to work at Best Buy, and all these controllers that would be on the demo kiosk, after like a month, the rubber's worn off, like, the analog sticks just completely snapped, and I'm like, this is attached
I've never had that happen.
This is attached to a kiosk. how does this happen? Like, what are you guys doing? Again, never had a problem with it, but I've had my Elite since like the Christmas after it came out, and it's fine.
2 years. Yeah.
I don't break them. Like, I don't break controllers, but
no.
Yeah, I mean, the controller thing, I will say the DualShock 4 is definitely the best version of that controller, because for a while they had the convexed analog sticks and the R2 and L2 that curve downward, which is stupid. It's a trigger, curve upward like an Xbox controller. Xbox had the concave thumbstick, so Sony at least got their shit together with the DualShock 4. By the way, I'm probably going to say they'll probably come out with a PS4 Pro bundle for Spider-Man. Probably some
I hope
design.
if they have a sweet console with Spider-Man on it, that would probably seal the deal for me.
I honestly,
I love Spider-Man.
I think there's no way they cannot. They have to take advantage of them owning that good of a franchise, and the game looks so good. Like I said, I as soon as I beat God of War, next time it'll get turned on will be for that. Because guess what? Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out on Xbox, which I don't get, because 1 and 2 and none of the other games are out for Xbox. But
I feel like they have to announce that at E3.
Better announce that shit. Just put you already have it on PS4.
I've never played any of them.
Yeah,
they're PlayStation games.
So. 1.5, 2.5 collection.
That's
you have it. It's on the new consoles. It's already just swap out triangle for Y and get your shit together, Square. Like, it's not hard. Like, let me rephrase that. I'm sure it's not easy. I'm not a game designer, but still, like, you've already done the legwork for a PS4. You've already done the legwork for PS4, right? Because when you port a game, you just click file, save as Xbox, right? Like,
that's what I do.
That's what I heard, right? It's just as simple as that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely a pretty well-known game designer. That's what I do. So.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's what makes sense. So as far as it goes now, obviously, you played through college. You got 360. You were probably online. Where are you playing online a lot? Because I mean, you said most of the time.
Not really in college. Yes. Yeah, so my online stuff kind of came with 360. I was already when 360 came out in 2003. I was married into my own place, and so 360 was kind of that lead in for me. So
and then obviously And you stuck, like you said, you got Wii and Wii U.
So I had 360, of course, I stayed with the hand. I've never missed a handheld. So DS, all that stuff. So I went 360. I got a Wii, at launch. I didn't go PS3, so I went Wii, Xbox One at launch, Wii U. I did not get a Wii U at launch.
I was going to say, please tell me
because I didn't really want one.
Yeah,
I think I'm trying to think of what game made me. Oh, it was I think it was Mario Kart. I think Mario Kart finally made me jump in. At this point, I have kids. I have 4 kids, and they really gravitate towards the Nintendo stuff, and rightfully so. That stuff is great for them. And so I think it was Mario Kart was when we finally jumped in there, and they they love the Switch. We play of course. They love Minecraft the most. My 9-year-old son loves Kirby Star Allies, and I hate that game with a deep passion. But he loves it.
Real quick, Kirby games are all designed for 6-year-olds, right? Like they're way too easy. Like they're just not designed for adults.
They're not. Yeah,
they're just not. Like, and I think that's why like adults just go see Kirby and just roll their damn eyes, because they their target audience is like 6 to 8-year-olds. Like flat out. Like they're just too easy, and I've never been big.
But Star Allies is cool because so I have a 9-year-old and then I have a 4-year-old, and so we can play 3 players, and we kind of let the 9-year-old lead since it's kind of his game, and I'm there to help, and the 4-year-old has no idea what he's doing.
Sure,
but he still has fun because you can basically carry the entire game without even needing him. So it's fun for that kind of stuff. They enjoy it.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, how were you one of those Wii apologists where you were just like, the Wii's good, man? I swear it is.
No, I hated the Wii.
Okay, good. Okay.
I loved.
You had common sense. Got it. All right.
Yeah, we kept the Wii for as long as we did, mostly because of Wii Sports. Because I mean, even 2 to 3 years into the life, we would still have family gatherings where we would do Wii bowling and Wii tennis and stuff.
And it was great for that.
Yeah, when I knew it was over is when Skyward Sword came out, and it was the worst Zelda game I had ever played. And as soon as I realized that the Wii ruined Zelda, I was like, there's no need for me to be here anymore. Right. And so yeah,
dude, Jose Otero from IGN gave that game a 10 out of 10.
I hate that game.
It's like literally, it'll be the thing that haunts him probably for the rest of his career. Like, dude, you gave Skyward Sword a 10. That's why, like, every time he reviews a Nintendo game, I just go, big grain of salt here, guys. He gave Zelda Skyward Sword a 10 out of 10. And like, you know, and honestly, here's how I feel too. Odyssey is not a 10 out of 10.
Oh no, not at all.
It's not. It's a fun game.
It's great.
It's
great.
not a 10. Like, it's not. And honestly, here's the thing: God of War. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 either.
No.
The problem is like when games get just so hyped. Either some games get so hyped that people just are too excited and they just like want to say certain things. And again, I'm not a game reviewer. I know it's probably a very difficult task to be like, yeah, we want to give this game a 10. Like, I'm sure that's like, holy shit, are you sure? Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Yeah, especially now with the internet being the way it is. Like, are you sure you're going to give this game a 10? Are you sure the shit is a 10? So far in God of War, it's fun, but there's certain things that I'm like, this could be a little bit better. But like even games like Metal Gear 5 got a 10 out of 10, and I'm like, ooh, this story is fucking trash. Like, this story makes no sense. Gameplay's fun. Story is god awful. Like,
yeah.
Like, and I know your love for Hideo Kojima or whatever. No, that game, I don't care if you're the biggest Metal Gear fan, you still need YouTube videos to understand that story. Like, there's nothing. There's just, it's nonsense. But, as soon as you said, like, how much you don't like him, I just thought of my friend Busby, and he's like, if I see Cliffy B, I'm gonna punch that man right in the mouth. And I'm like, yo, why?
That's kind of how I feel. I mean, I'm just saying that if during E3, Hideo Kojima gets hit by a bus, I will be driving the bus. That's all I'm saying. Dude, that's all I'm saying.
The worst was, it was during Gears Award stuff. There was some like video that somebody made of, they were talking about Gears of War and they were talking about the DLC price and everything for what you get. And then at the end of the video, there was like a picture of Cliffy B driving off in his Lambo, just like laughing. And he's like, that's how I imagine Cliffy B in real life, bro. He's charging me for DLC. I'm just going to punch that man in the mouth. like that's so aggressive. He's like, I don't give a shit, man. I'll punch that dude right in the mouth. I have no, but it was him. He told me, he's like, him, Peter Molyneux, and Billy Mitchell, that goddamn liar who said he broke the King Kong record and didn't. Or Donkey Kong record, not King Kong.
That's
Donkey
funny.
Kong record. He's like,
That's
those
funny.
three people, line them up, I'll sock each one in the mouth. And I'm like,
that's funny.
Fair enough.
That's funny.
To be fair, though, if anybody out there roots for Billy Mitchell, you can go right and wear his stupid ties and go sit and eat his sauce or whatever the hell he does. I don't want to talk to you anymore. And obviously now, like, have your gaming habits, I mean, like you said, you have kids. Have your gaming habits, like, obviously you don't get time to do shit. You're up till 1 a.m. right now talking to me on the internet. Like, what? Like, how often are you playing games lately?
Yeah, so the biggest commodity that I have now in my life is time. You know, and you get to that. I mean, crap. How old am I now? 36, I think.
So old you forgot.
I think that's right. But yeah, I mean, you know, you get to the place in your life where it's something you love to do. I mean, I love games. And that's never going to change, but it's just not the same, right? And it's funny, you were talking about God of War, you know, you thinking that you were over and not being over. And it makes me remember even in college, you know, whenever I would beat a game and I'd be like, oh, that's it after like 25 hours. And now it's like after 2 hours, I'm looking at, you know, how long to beat and I'm like, oh crap, you know?
Yes. We literally think the exact same way because I just have no time and I'm like, if this game is like 8 hours, I'll be so fucking happy. And then I look and I'm like, why is God of War 18 hours? What the fuck, man? That's what happened with Assassin's Creed for me. I just stock up on games on Black Friday because I don't play them day one usually anyways. So I got like Evil Within, South Park, Assassin's Creed, and Wolfenstein like Christmas Day.
Oh, wow.
And I bought them all myself for Black Friday for my own gifts. I was just like, I'll wait for them to be $20 or whatever. Yeah. But the order I played them in was, what's the shortest game first? This one. Cool, beat that. What's the next shortest game? This one, beat that. Then I got to Assassin's Creed and I saw like 27 hours. I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to beat this game. No, I'm right there with you, man. Like, games are too long. It's a detriment, man. It's like, I want to feel like I do something with this time. Yeah. I don't want to just feel like I play this endless void of game.
Yeah. So I really dig into either the shorter experiences. I'm playing Celeste right now, on Switch, and I'm playing, Adventure Time Pals, on Switch, which is really fun. And then I haven't started playing yet, but I just downloaded this, crap, I forgot the name of it. It's like a dung beetle, and it's like Yoo-Hoo's Island Adventure or something like that. It's like a pinball side scrolling game. It looks awesome. I haven't started playing it yet, but I recommended by a couple people. But things like that, I love SteamWorld Dig. I love Golf Story. Like these games I can jump in and beat in 4 or 5 hours. Like those are the kind of things that I really gravitate toward. And then like on Xbox, I really enjoy I really enjoy what Xbox is doing. I love Sea of Thieves. Mm-hmm. I love State of Decay, and I have a couple of friends that I regularly play with, and that's kind of like my like right now, 11, 12 o'clock at night, I'll normally jump online and we'll go scavenge some houses in State of Decay, or we'll go find some chests in Sea of Thieves, and we'll play for maybe an hour and a half. We'll have some fun, have some laughs, we'll sign off, and then call it a day. And so that's kind of the cycle that I'm in, but that's why I love Switch so much, because I don't want to neglect my family, right? So sure. I play a lot with the kids. We play Kirby, which makes me want to stab my eyes with forks. Right. I played Mario Odyssey with them, and I let the 4-year-old do the second player mode where he's playing Cappy, right, which is super annoying if you played it, because sometimes you're like, you just go here because this is what I need.
But here, but you're just throwing yourself in front of me all day long.
Exactly. It's like I can't even see you on the screen. Where are you at? But yeah, we play a lot of Minecraft. I absolutely hate Minecraft. Like, it's just the worst game ever. But my kids absolutely love it, and so I'll jump in and I'll play that with them some. But then just even hanging out. Maybe my wife's watching something on TV and I'm just hanging out with her, and I have the Switch in my hands and I can play whether Stardew Valley, right, or something like that. And so it's a way that I can kind of, and that's why to this day, like, handheld gaming is where I am, and I don't work from home, and so I take it, so I have an hour my lunch break. It only takes me 10 minutes to eat, so now I have time that I can play for half an hour or something at work, or right, stuff like that. So yeah. Sense. I try to fit it in when I can, and so that's why Switch is great, because I play probably primarily on the Switch for that reason, and then I'll jump on Xbox more of like a kind of a scheduled time where I can sit down. The thing about big games like that, you gotta really plan, so it's like, okay, I'm the next 2 hours, okay, everybody's in bed, it's 10 o'clock, I don't have to get up tomorrow, so now I'm gonna play for the next 3 hours, whatever right, game it is that I want to play. So
yeah, that's how I am with my buddy Jared. Basically, we find a game and just kind of stick to it. Like, for lately, it's been Grand Theft Auto Online, which I honestly think I wouldn't be playing that game 5 years after it came out, and it's so insane and it's so fun. So we do that, but like for like a year straight, our schedules lined up to where when he was off work, so was I. Both of our spouses and kids were doing their shit, and we would play Halo 5 online for like a year straight. And it was just like, that's our time to like just bullshit and talk and be like, yo, what's up? That's how I hang out with him, because he lives in Illinois, I live in Arizona. Like, yeah, that's how I catch up with him and shit. But as far as it goes, like, now lately it's been stay up late or wake up stupid early. Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm up at 6 o'clock and no one else is. I'm going to come play games. Yeah. So that's kind of how that's happened. But sure, I'll be taking that trip to Texas, and hopefully Mario Tennis will be out by then, I think. It's out in like 2 weeks. There we go. Yeah, it should be good. I'll probably get Mario Tennis and just play that during the times my wife has to drive. So yeah, we'll figure it out.
Did you play the online tournament?
I didn't. Demo? I just didn't get a chance to play it when it was there, but like some people told me it was fun. And then some people told me like,
I mean, there's definitely, I think it's going to be amazing just offline multiplayer, you know, and single player. There was definitely some lag issues, but we, you know, because my kids are really into it, we basically took most of our Saturday and we just played. And actually my 9-year-old won the tournament one time.
That's awesome.
Which is really cool. He was super excited, but yeah, so it was a lot of fun. Aces is going to be great.
Yeah, like, and what was it? Ryan Scott from the Comedy Button, he straight put, "This is the best tennis game since Topspin 2," and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
he's like, "I'm
really
not
good.
kidding. This is the best tennis game since Topspin." He's like, "I don't know how Nintendo does it, but they just throw Mario characters in it and it made it even better." He's like, "This is the best tennis game." I'm like, "Yes, that's a good sign." Yeah. So, if people wanted to check you out on the internet or possibly play games with you stupid late at night, where would they go? Where would they find you at?
So you can find me pretty much everywhere at neolego. I have my friend code on my Twitter page, which you can find on Xbox.
No one remembers that shit off the top.
Yeah, of I know, exactly. On Xbox, I'm also neolego, just NEOLEGO, just like it sounds. And you can follow me or friend me on Xbox, or harass me if you want. That's fine. I also, real quick, I run a little website called Geek Family Media, and because I have a bunch of kids, I try to do content that's them. It's not just gaming. We do, Legos and movie reviews and stuff like that too. But yeah, so I try to get them involved and let them have some fun with that too. But yeah, anything that I do, you can. I guest on podcasts and stuff. But if you follow me on Twitter, if you care about anything that I do, you'll find it on there when I do something. So.
Absolutely. And I will have links in the show notes for all of the above. So if you guys want to check out any of that, feel free to. Dude, thank you so much for being on the show.
It's a blast. Thank you.
All right. And again, thank you, Chris, for being on the show. If you guys want to check out any of the things he does, again, go ahead and follow him at neolego on Twitter. Also, of course, I'll have links in the show notes, like I said, so you can check out all the things he does there. If you guys want to be in the show just like Chris was, go ahead and send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter, or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast on Twitter. Also, of course, we have a YouTube channel. You can search up GUG Podcast in the search bar, and you will find my channel there. And, of course, we have a Facebook group, Growing Up Gaming. Just search that in Facebook and you'll find it there as well. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the downloads. Without your guys' support, this show wouldn't happen. So I really do appreciate that. And we'll catch you guys next week with another new guest and another new episode. See ya.